Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug. And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you better make the most of it.
Fire away!
America! Well, Uncle Dan.
Yes, Uncle Mark.
We have a show. We have Show 52 coming at you.
Here it is.
Hot and fresh.
Yeah.
Before we delve into that and what we're doing on this week's show, we want to talk about some things, some exciting news.
Exciting,
very
upcoming
exciting,
things.
that we're doing out in the world.
We're trying to make your lives better, not just auditorially, but
audio. Yeah. Is that a word?
Audiologically?
Audiologically.
Sonically.
Thank you. So, first announcement the first. Just want to remind everybody that we have gone back through the website, made everything keyword searchable. One of the reasons we really wanted to do that is because you might have a show or a segment that you think might be meaningful to a friend person or family person. That's an easy way to search, find the segment, send it to them, share the show, make the world a better place. And we have another announcement.
Yeah, this one's the big one.
Yeah.
Mark has to do the first announcement because he worked hard on this website and whatever. But this one's actually an important one.
This is the better one.
And that is that we are approaching our year mark.
That's right.
1 year ago and change, we put together this little show.
Yep.
And we love it so much, and we love you guys.
Yep.
And wish to meet you. So,
Yes.
Unfortunately, the bulk of you don't live in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Behind the Zion Curtain in the Beehive State with us.
But some of you do, and some of you can travel and whatever. So we're having a meetup. We're having the first ever Heretic Hangout.
We're going to pull back the veil.
We
That's
are.
right.
You'll actually get visual confirmation that your uncles exist.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Are all devastatingly handsome.
We will call you through the veil.
We should do a veil.
We should do it.
Oh, that's funny.
You have to
do
knock.
a handshake.
You have
right.
to, what is wanted. Anyway, we're still working out what it's going to look like, but we know where it's going to be and we want you to come. If you can at all, we are looking at October what is it?
14th.
The 14th of October.
Sunday, October 14th.
The Ides of October.
Yes, indeed. So show up if you at all can. We'll have details hopefully up on our website soon.
Yeah.
But also check our Twitter feed, our Facebook feed. We're going to have it all there. And
LinkedIn and Grindr.
Don't. Damn it, Uncle Doug.
It's going to be on Second Life and GeoCities.
Look for it on your MySpace.
Yeah, it's all going to be there.
It'll show up for you.
October the 14th, 6 to 9 p.m.
Show up. We'll provide some nibbles and you can buy some drinks if you like. It's fun for everybody. So that's coming up.
And there will be a raffle. I don't want to give away the game, but there's going to be a raffle.
You don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
If you can fly in,
A raffle for the rabble.
Stockholm listeners, get in here.
Get in here. There's time.
It's going to be worth it. So now we've got a show to do.
We've got a show, and I am going to describe the world in a way that you maybe didn't realize the world is.
Yes,
and I'm going to leave it at that.
That's true. And
Hopefully
then
you're not driving or operating machinery during that segment.
you will become dumber as we talk about it. And then I'm going to introduce us to your favorite kind of dog.
Yes,
Only not that really.
And then Uncle Doug, you're going to.
I'm going to talk about a drug-induced religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna we go from dog talk to cactus talk, and I think it's a great show. So let's get it in gear.
Let's do the show. Hey,
Uncle
Uncle
Dan.
Whoa. We had a double. There was a two uncle collision on Highway 6.
I saw the whole thing go down.
Wow, it's terrifying.
I couldn't look away.
No, why would you? Now you're rubbernecking.
I saw you coming, so I thought I'd jump in.
So here we go. You know what I love?
What do you love?
In this world?
Many things, I assume.
Many things. One of the things that I actually adore is how humans are apt to believe the oddest of things.
Oddest is the nicest way possible to put it.
And I think Uncle Mark's gonna wander us through the valley of Woo.
Valley of Woo. Lo, though I walk to the Valley of Woo.
Well, it's a sort of a valley, but you just can't see it from where you're sitting. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this, the Woo, our watch out for Woo thing is really there. If religion is heroin or the opiate of the masses, then Woo is the methadone of the masses, and it is a frequent stop for the post-religious, right?
Yeah.
Or at least it's the hair of the dog of the masses, and it's a frequent stop for the post-religious to kind of, I'm still spiritual, and and then at some point, most people realize it's still absurd. I should just believe in a rational, evidence-based system in life, rather than,
You, sir,
the tarot.
are trying to discount all of the really strong evidence there is for all of the Woo.
That if you yell at water, it remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's mostly harmless, except for that picture I sent you guys with the person who glued crystals all over their steering wheel.
That was hilarious.
All over their airbag.
They had literally crystals and they were like, and like with the caption, "I'm totally safe now" or something like that.
All over like the horn thing
Where
and
the
steering
bag
wheel
comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So if they get in an accident, their face will just be, it'll be like buckshot across their face.
Doug said they turned their airbag into a claymore. So with that minor diversion, which is not half as crazy as we are going to delve into today.
Hurrah!
So this, pardon me, this is one of those stops one might make post Catholicism or something that really I would like to talk you out of it, and maybe I can do in this particular watch out for Woo. So this one is kind of amazing. This is the Hollow Earth theory.
Oh, boy.
That sounds fancy.
So we know there are, flat earthers,
yeah.
but there are also hollow earthers. And before we embark, and there's far fewer hollow earthers, by the way, but which oddly, there's a greater chance that the earth is hollow than it is flat like a pizza box. But before we embark on what is a truly literal descent into total moonbat lunacy.
Okay.
I just want to preface it with saying that the theory of the hollow earth insanity is truly that, but when you boil any shambles of incoherent, factless, wish-fulfilling, bias-confirming ideas down to their essence, is a flat earth or a hollow earth any crazier than a virgin birth?
No.
Or pre-Columbian wooden submarines crossing the Mediterranean only to get to the Atlantic, only to get to the Caribbean Ocean? Or is it any crazier than prophets flying away to heaven on a winged horse?
I mean,
The answer is no.
the answer is they all sound perfectly reasonable and rational to me.
So you may draw your own conclusions, dear listeners, but hopefully the prime directive of this podcast will help you understand your uncle's opinions about these sort of things. But let's dive in nonetheless. So let us leave the rock-solid, rock-hard stability of sanity aside and drill downward, forever downward, into this week's Watch Out for Woo, the hollow motherfucking earth. So now, in researching this segment, I realized that this idea is hardly new, as we've explored in a few of our Let's Go to Hell segments. Most of the world's early cultures and civilizations believed in some kind of underground world, from the Greek Tartarus, which was the template for Catholic hell, to the crazy, very specific horrors of Naraka, the Buddhist and also Hindu hells. Most of the classical punishments of the ancient world lie underground. But the caverns...
By the way, the Upside Down in Stranger Things. Also,
Ooh,
I'm just saying.
Topical.
And what was that crazy, scary movie I saw when I was at the Mole People?
Right?
Remember that spooky-ass old black and white? And they just go underground?
Of course I don't. I'm not
I
300.
kind of do remember that. But
Yeah, it was fucked me up. But also in other cultures, the underworld has, like the literal underworld, has been the birthplace of other cultures, from ancient Mexico to Micronesia, even the Iroquois Indians of North America. Humanity emerging from a mysterious, lush underworld is also a common theme. So,
Oh.
yeah.
So it's an origin, it's an exodus, it's the before and the after It's the alpha and the omega.
Everybody's got an idea about what's underground.
There's something going on down there.
If you dig enough, you get to the other place. Land of the Lost.
If you have a very special stone,
There you go.
You can see treasures under the ground. So the 18th century, a new class of intellects and thinkers stepped into all this mysterious and enticing anthropological mythos, and these were the scientists and scholars of the Enlightenment. Mm-hmm. One of the earliest, in air quotes, modern proponents of the Hollow Earth was none other than Astronomer Royal to the British Royal Court, Sir Edmund Halley.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the guy the comet is named after.
Right.
Huh. So, because he was one of history's greatest minds, he was befuddled by the sometimes strange behavior of compass needles as one moved about the Earth. So, of course, he theorized the Earth was not a solid ball of rock and magma, but that it was instead a kind of Russian nesting doll of balls within a ball, all surrounding an actual much smaller solid ball. So he did believe in a solid Earth.
Okay.
It was just 4 layers inside this one.
Balls within balls.
And
Which, by the way, I believe in too, but that's just because I've got a thing.
yeah, it's
It's a bump. I don't know. Maybe it's cancer.
it's intertesticle.
It's cancer.
But even crazier, all of these inner spheres and the inner ball rotated like the Earth, but independently of the Earth,
Right.
and each had its own magnetic poles. That explained the weird behavior of compass needles.
Ta-da! Solved.
Right. So this idea of spheres within spheres, you'll be happy to know, is no longer the current science of the hollow Earth theory, but Halley's idea that the aurora borealis were caused by warm air escaping from the polar openings to the hollow Earth is still very much part of the current thinking.
Hashtag Earth farts.
Total Earth farts. So other Enlightenment figures jumped in on the completely crazy idea, theorizing that there were fully developed civilizations within the Earth. And
That's a big jump. Just to
Land of the Lost.
yeah, there's some spitting orbs down there and civilizations.
Dinosaurs.
and people, and of course, so people would require a sun. So there's a sun.
It's a Dyson sphere. It's a Dyson sphere. I got nerd. I have a nerd reference for it.
So yes, a star inside the Earth.
Yeah.
And most insanely, Scottish mathematician, I don't know if it's most insanely, but to me it was, Sir John Leslie theorized there were 2 suns inside the Earth. So
Why not?
anyone who knows a little about binary star systems will laugh at the idea of such a violent, anomalous gravitational maelstrom inside our not very big planet.
But they're little. They're cute stars.
And there'll be more on the sun in a minute. So, the big brains of the Enlightenment planted the seeds of the hollow Earth. Mm-hmm. And it maintained a bit over the next 150 years, but it kind of wasn't that big a thing.
So did it all kind of stem from Halley and his magnets? How do they work?
Right. Right. And it's,
Halley was one of the, there's a little known fact, one of the original members of Insane Clown Posse.
ICP, motherfuckers.
I don't know if you know that.
But,
ICP for life.
What's so true of like a lot of these Enlightenment.
I just the Royal Astronomical whatever or something is like the first Juggalos.
The first Juggalo.
That's my favorite. Like, if you've ever been to Greenwich outside of London,
Yeah.
it's just face paint.
Well, that's-
as far as the eye can see.
That's why to this day the Juggalos wear very fussy powdered wigs. That is an Enlightenment fact, motherfuckers. So
you wouldn't believe the amount of HP sauce they have at their gatherings.
if you drill down into these Enlightenment figures, you look at like Isaac Newton, you're like, oh my God, one of the great originators of understanding physics in this earth.
Yeah.
He was also an alchemist.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So they were all they were working with the clay they had. And let's give them credit for getting everything about half right. So because everybody before that had it
Zero right.
Yeah. So good job, guy named after a comet.
Yeah.
So it kind of this idea of the hollow Earth kind of farted around for a little while, farting out aurora borealis all over the place. But in the 20th century, it took off again because of the spiritual movement. So spiritualists like Walburga, who, as you all know, is a good friend of Queen Victoria, were all excited about the Atlantis and Lemurian myths that were all the rage at the time.
Oh, everybody, right? Lemuria, we've talked about that.
At episode 15, go back to episode 15 and you can learn all about Lemuria, the long, skinny continent. So,
Peopled entirely with lemurs.
so the Hollow Earth provided a good next chapter for the Atlantean saga,
Yeah.
as it gave as we know, the very proud and highly advanced inhabitants of the sunken continent a place to have escaped to. These ideas had also been popularized in fiction, as you know, books like Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth, William Henry Hudson's A Crystal Age, and Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core. So clearly this, the romantic idea of a secret Earth within our observable Earth captured the public imagination. But things like school, observable science, evidence, cartography, geology, aerial reconnaissance, satellite images, and pretty much every fucking thing should have put this fun fictional notion to bed.
Right.
Not so, dear uncles.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Along with the massive scientific and technological explosions of the 20th century, this era also brought us humanity's peak crack pottery. So we shall talk about one of the gateways for the time-honored American religion of conspiracy theory, Art Bell, at length another time.
Boy. Oh, dear.
But for the purpose of this discussion, all you need to know is he had a highly popular syndicated AM radio program called Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah.
That was a nightly forum for the fringiest of fringe ideas in the conspiracy and paranormal world. So I remember Art Bell.
I totally remember Art Bell.
Yeah.
I managed to never even hear of this person.
It's pretty amusing stuff.
Yeah. When I spent some time in southern Utah and at night we would get no radio stations, but you could pick up Art Bell because it was AM and it was everywhere,
Right.
And it was crazy.
It was crazy. It was lizard people
Yeah.
and like the whole David Icke universe.
He was the what's his name? The Alex Jones of his time.
Yeah, well, he wasn't.
Minus the rage.
He was kind of a calm.
Okay.
He was kind of a calm figure.
Yeah, he had a real radio voice and was kind of a calm character, which made the craziness even stranger. But
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You can find him on the internet and listen to him. But anyway, so according to a report I found in the Telegraph UK, on the night of October 4th, 2002, let me take you back. A guy by the name of Dallas Thompson appeared as a guest. A formal personal trainer. Former person. He was a formal personal trainer.
Have you ever? You know those guys at the gym in their tuxedos?
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
if
the
you can do burpees in a top hat, he was your guy. So fucking stupid Mark. He was a former personal trainer. Thompson said his car had plunged off a cliff in a rainstorm. He plummeted 250 feet before crashing. While he lay somehow alive in the crumpled wreck, he saw a light of revelation so bright he claimed to have become legally blind from it. The light was the knowledge that the earth was hollow and the opening was near the North Pole, and that his destiny was to go to there. And according to Thompson, there was a place where modernity and pollution had not penetrated,
No.
teeming with woolly mammoths and ancient tribes of people that lived to the very specific age of 1,700 years.
Oh.
He also revealed to Art Bell that he'd raised the funds to buy a critically important solo trek, which is like a helicopter version of a jetpack with which he would travel to and descend into the polar gateway to paradise.
I love it.
So he had a book that he wrote about all this stuff, and it turned into a bestseller because people are crazy. And as public interest in the trek exploded, and just before the date he was to mount his mission, he mysteriously disappeared from public view. Coincidence?
See, now this is what he may have done it wrong, because the way you do this is you get everybody gathered around you. You take off in your stupid vehicle.
Yes.
You fly out of sight, and then you go with all of their money and live happily in Duluth for the rest of your life
right.
as John.
You take all their cash.
John Doe's.
then you go and sell the monorail in Ogdenville.
right.
your single serving helicopter.
Yeah.
So what did the car crash have to do with any of this?
It was
It was the inciting incident.
It was the inciting incident.
was-
It's the catalytic event that
Apparently, he couldn't use "I prayed and Jesus told me," so he
yeah,
he went
I mean,
with.
it's classic. It's the moment of death, right? It's the moment of
Well, and also, what could be more believable in the world than I suffered brain trauma and now I know something that
tell
you
what
guys
would be-
should believe?
I'll tell you what would be more believable. My car fell 250 feet. I broke through into the inner earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Saw it and came back.
I'm back, and they said, "Don't fuck with us. Nobody ever come back here."
And then they rebuilt the hole.
yeah, They spackled my car hole. Car that my Honda Civic, the whole my Honda Civic.
You guys would be shocked. It's just plaster that's keeping us from them, but they're really good at it.
So, unfortunately, we no longer know where Dallas Thompson and his little helicopter are. But not to worry, dear uncles. The beautiful dream of an Earth within our Earth didn't disappear from this Earth with Thompson.
Thank God.
And his backpack autogyro. No. A good Mormon man and fellow Utah, of course,
Oh, yeah.
by the name of Rodney Clough, has picked up the hollow Earth mantle and run with it until he bonked his head on the distant upward curving horizon. Born in the same polygamist workaround to U.S. law that Mitt Romney's father was, Colonia Juarez in northern Mexico.
Okay.
He claims he was first exposed to the idea while working as a farmhand in New Mexico as a teenager. At that critical moment, a lifelong passion was launched.
I just want to know who the fuck is spouting hollow earth theory to Mexican farm workers.
Yeah, you're toiling in the field in the Mexican sun, and someone's like, "Hey,
Hey, you know what would happen if you swung that pickaxe far enough down?
Yeah. Hey, keep working, but I want to tell you about something. Yeah, keep going. So years later, a grown-up married Clough moved his wife and family from sunny Arizona to rural Alaska to be closer to one of the polar holes to paradise. This is where it gets very exciting, guys. He gathered a group of like-minded adventurers and struck out by car for the world's most incredible secret. Can you imagine the excitement, the trepidation, the potentially explosive revelations of such a courageous journey? What a day of bold, fearless discovery lay ahead of this intrepid band of adventurers in their Chevy Impala. I'll let the reporting of the Telegraph's Will Storr pick up the adventure tale from here. Quoting Clough, "We started up the road to Point Barrow. We saw a sign at one point saying, 'This is a private road. Don't go any further.'"
You said to Barrow?
To Point Barrow.
Point Barrow. I know where Barrow, Alaska is the northernmost city in the world.
yeah,
Well, Point Barrow, I don't know if it's the same
I
thing.
don't know if it's...
At one point, we ran into a sign, "This is a private road. Do not go any further." So we didn't go any further. Storr, the reporter, asks how long they drove before they reached the sign and aborted the mission. "About an hour," Clough said. "Less than an hour," Clough finally let on.
wait a second.
Now,
There was a stop sign.
Wait a minute.
now I know this is the greatest story of adventure since Alexander wept because there were no worlds left to conquer.
Because it was a yield sign.
But our hero, Elder Clough, wouldn't let such insurmountable obstacles as a no trespassing sign thwart his passion for all things hollow. He has since created, this is what you do when you're thrown off by a sign. He has since created a deeply informative website, World Top Secret, Our Earth is Hollow, ! To be found at the URL ourhollowearth.com. Please check it out. He lays out his bona fides as a faithful Mormon whose ancestry is described as, in quotes, Israelitish.
Ish. I love it.
He's Israelitish.
I've got a lot of ish in my ancestry.
That's his word, not mine.
He's not a Jew. He's just Jewish.
He's
That's
an
right.
Israelitish via Viking royalty and some kind of friendship with William the Conqueror.
Of course.
So you know everything else he says is full reels.
Can I just point out, by the way, I had to look it up to be sure, but all of this talk about the North Pole being the entrance to the thing, you guys know that the actual North Pole is completely underwater, right?
Yes, well, if you go to the website, which I just directed you to,
if you believe the internet.
Right.
it is 5 degrees off the North Pole, Dan.
I'm pretty sure that's also
still
underwater.
also underwater.
Totally underwater. So, but when do such facts get in the way of the truth?
Right.
So, laying out his case for the hollow Earth on his website, he first explains that not only the Earth, but the other planets, the Moon, and the nuclear furnaces of the stars themselves are all hollow and all inhabited.
I love it.
Yes. So, and we'll talk another time about how Mormons do think the Moon and the Sun are
Yeah,
inhabited.
No, Mormons did. Some Mormons did.
It's still on the books. So then he goes on to describe the anodyne, totally normal reality of what's up inside this 6,000-year-old hollow ball of ours. And this is just a partial list. It has a teensy interior sun 600 miles in diameter. Never mind that once you subtract that diameter, then you twice subtract the 800-mile thickness of the hollow Earth's crust. The good people of the interior sun, or the interior Earth, live only about 2,500 miles from their sun's molten nuclear fissile surface.
Right.
We are 93 million surface dwellers, are 93 million miles from our sun, and it will burn the shit out of you in nothing flat.
Yeah, but our sun, let's be fair, our sun is big.
It was big.
Their sun's little. I mean,
It's a little sun.
It's just a little baby.
Well, the inner sun is closer to the inner Earth surface than LA is to New York. Also, our massive killer sun is just a few pixels in the vast sky, yet it's too powerful to look at directly.
Right.
The massive scale of the inner sun in the interior sky would make it basically impossible to avoid looking at. Couple that with the fact that there's never night. Oh, fuck, I don't care. Whatever.
There's no nighttime. Yeah,
There's no nighttime.
Yeah, that would just be. Sounds delightful.
So back to the list of partial list of what's up down there. So it is where the original Garden of Eden is today.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's still there.
It's still there.
All right.
Wait, you're telling me that it's not in Missouri? Because
He has a workaround for that.
It's under Missouri.
they flipped it.
Did you spell
anti-Missouri.
Missouri backwards?
Right.
It's rum.
It's where the political kingdom of God is, whatever that means.
The political kingdom. Okay.
Yeah. It's where the vanquished Germans, meaning Nazis, went after World War II.
It sounds great.
All right.
And I have to disagree there. That's actually a mysterious, legendary land called Argentina.
/ Brazil.
It's also where flying saucers come from. It's where super healthy inner humans live to be hundreds of years old. That's no surprise.
Yeah.
It is, of course, where heaven is. And, of course,
Heaven's underground in constant sun and like million-degree heat.
yes.
Okay.
And totally smaller than Earth.
And a bunch of Nazis.
Small aside, people down there are 15 feet tall, but let's not get too hung up in that.
Doesn't help, does it?
And more importantly, gravity isn't what we think it is, according to Clough,
Well, that is an important point.
because obvious, but people are kind of sucked to the surface, inside or out, because the ether inside atoms is constantly imploding and sucking us down.
Oh.
I think. I don't fucking know. It broke my brain at that point. So
Sucking us down as though the sun doesn't have the same atoms sucking you toward it.
Right.
Yeah. It all makes sense.
So let
I
me
think
now-
all that it makes.
let me now, to you doubting motherfuckers, lay out the proofs.
Yeah.
He goes on to describe that the interior has been visited by a lost Norwegian fisherman,
Oh, sure.
a secret agent dispatched by the Freemasons in 1827.
Do they do that?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's like the Kingsmen.
Had I known that existed, I would have applied as a younger man.
You have to know the handshakes. It has been visited by a Nazi U-boat that somehow sailed through a water tunnel to it.
Yeah. They'll have those.
The famed polar explorer, Medal of Honor winner, and daring aviator Admiral Byrd,
Yeah.
who secretly flew in and out of both polar openings to the interior paradise, but knew the secret must never get out for some reason.
Right.
Spoiler, it's the Jews. A woman named Phoebe Holmes, who was taken inside by two angels, who revealed it would become a celestial paradise in the year 3020.
Oh, okay.
And most obviously, it was visited by Commander Valiant Thor, head of the Council of the 12 of Hollow Venus, who flew there in his 7-mile-long spaceship.
Oh, my God.
Poppycock, you say. Other than Admiral Byrd and a high-ranking Hollow Venus Mormon, what proof do you have of these wild claims? Well, you earth full of rocks and lava doubting Thomases, here comes a load of hard-crusted truth with nothing but air in the middle. See? Interior flying saucer people found a guy named Larry in the California desert in 1960, and they told him that Earth is a prison planet because of what Adam and Eve did. You know what you did, man made of dust and woman made of rib, what with the talking snake and the fruit tree. But by 2028, which is just around the corner, the Genesis-imposed prison sentence will be up, and a giant solar flare, accompanied by the seventh trumpet from Revelations 10, will let us know the flying saucer people are coming to take us home. And, of course, as they let Larry know, they could get enough flying saucers together for everyone in about a week, 8 days tops.
No problem.
Yeah.
Does Larry have a last name?
Does it matter?
No.
Does he need one?
No.
Does Cher have a last name?
True enough.
Does Madonna have a last name?
Fair point.
So I see the doubt in your face. And if you don't believe Larry, well, then how can you not believe Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 4, where it clearly states, and I quote directly from Elder Clough's website here, Deuteronomy calls the land of our hollow earth the outmost parts of heaven, where the lost tribes of Israel were driven to. The prophet Isaiah wrote, in the last days, God would, ... set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The four corners of the earth is the Garden of Eden, where out of flows four rivers to the four cardinal points of compass.
My brain
Mic
broke.
drop.
My brain is mush.
3 words into that thing.
Okay, fine.
I didn't follow any
If you refuse to believe either Larry or Deuteronomy, perhaps you will believe Air Force Colonel Billy Fay Woodard, who along with his sister were born in the inner earth and brought to the surface in what we scummy surface dwellers call 1951.
I would believe him.
Quoting Billy's website, and I quote, both Billy and his sister were born with both male and female organs and were hermaphrodites.
Oh, both.
Just in case you need further clarification.
Both things. That's nice.
Billy naturally was also fluent in an ancient Lemurian language.
Sure.
Again, please see episode 15 for a little
He can talk to lemurs.
a little refresher about Lemuria. It's amazing. And can you guess which Air Force facility Billy rose to command?
Area 52.
You were very close.
So
Damn it.
close. Oh.
But do you think a high-ranking subterranean hermaphroditic commander of Area 51 who returns to the inner earth to visit his parents on the regular is not to be believed? I say, you're a cad. So to conclude, literally we could go on for 4 hours here, but this rabbit hole is quite literally bottomless, and I could go on, but my head is getting hollower by the minute. So if you don't believe this preposterous tapestry of blather I've woven for you today,
And I don't.
and you've got a powerful hankering for more hollow,
And I do.
may I direct you to the venerable and profoundly patient Michael Marshall's Be Reasonable podcast, episode 49, where he ever so gently challenges Rodney Clough's hour-long spiral into the void. And earlier when I said it was the Jews, and y'all were like, sure, it's always the Jews, it ends up with the Jews. Well, it basically ends up with the Jews.
Yeah.
As Clough explains, the globalist, air quotes here, the globalist bankers who control the world via the media don't want this incredible secret to get out because reasons.
Blank.
And because it's a whole triple Lindy, he even manages to try to make Hitler the well-meaning victim of World War II. Seriously. I don't think Marsh was ready for where that was going.
Oh,
so.
my God. Can someone dig a hole for this guy quick?
So
Right through. Right through the hole.
Just somebody say, we've dug it. Jump in.
So I can see from the hollow look in my co-uncle's eyes, it's time to implode this preposterous cave-in, and so I shall. So that's the hollow earth theory. Enter at your own risk.
You know what I'm going to take away from this whole segment and all the research you've done? Is I can't stop thinking about trying to do burpees in a top hat.
Well, then it's the hollow earth is worth something. So,
Then our time is well spent.
yes. So good luck, intrepid explorers.
Yeah, go find it.
May you find no trespassing signs in your path. So.
I've got a friend who's been to the South Pole. I feel like you're better off going down there than don't do the North thing.
Solid rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At least you can walk there.
Yeah, eventually. So good luck, everyone.
Have fun.
Pack a lunch.
Moving on.
Uncle Doug,
Uncle Mark.
I oftentimes will find myself for too many reasons to count, marooned in a snowdrift upon a winter's eve.
I've been known to pull you out of that drift a couple times.
Yeah, and what I would like to see more than I would like to see you is a large mountain dog with the barrel of brandy around its neck to rescue me.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Tough shit.
I don't know.
It's the wrong Saint Bernard.
Oh,
We're going to talk about the breed of Saint Bernard for 20 minutes.
Yeah, no. That is Saint Bernard of Murphy.
that is Saint Bernard of Saint Moritz.
Yeah, literally that dog. The dog is named after a totally different. We're going to be talking about Bernard of Clairvaux.
Oh.
The more influential and more powerful Saint Bernard.
Well, it's brandy or nothing. So if he's got brandy, let's talk about it. Because my love of brandy.
He's probably more of a mead guy.
Is that what they have in those barrels? It's brandy.
Yeah, it's brandy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Although brandy probably came about around that time, so there you go.
Thanks for tuning in to Dog Talk.
This is this big. Actually, interestingly, I'm talking about Bernard of Clairvaux. the dog was actually named after Dachshund of Clairvaux, ironically. Very
What?
strange.
Is that true?
No, of course not. Oh, nothing I say is true.
It's Catholic. It could all be true.
Yeah, who knows? Who even knows? So what we're talking about is a medieval fellow born in 1090 at Fontaine-le-Dijon, which I believe translates to the Fountain of Mustard.
Mustard fountain. Yeah.
Yeah, in France. He was the son of wealthy landowning gentry.
Sure.
In France,
Yeah.
in the Burgundy region of
If
France.
you got to be born in 1090 in France, you could do worse.
You could do worse.
Yeah.
And that means that he was, of course, well educated, which I think at that time meant he could read.
Yeah, you count to 10.
He could count to 20 if he took his shoes off.
Yeah, right. And so from an early age, he decided that his scholarship should focus and be devoted to the study of the Bible.
Why not?
So apparently,
What else are you going to study?
He wasn't that smart.
if you went to the library and there was the book,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the one you study.
There's 8 copies of one book and then a bunch of letters by other guys.
Yeah.
And
And then, of course, at that time in France, there was already a well-established library of bird law.
lots of bird law.
But he didn't want to go into animal law.
He wasn't interested in the legalistic stuff, so
Right.
he went the other direction that you could go if you liked to read.
Yeah.
He was a very influential monk. He became a monk. He became abbot. He was instrumental in helping a new order of monks, the Cistercians,
Yes.
rather, gain prominence.
They were famous for their water tanks.
These were actually monks who were sick and tired of how loosey goosey those Benedictines had become. So they went and advocated for a more back to basics style of monking.
The licentious Benedictines.
Right.
We've all heard the story.
Cut loose in 1099.
Yeah, so these guys went back to the at austereness,
Right.
Yeah.
and tilling the land, that sort of monkery.
What accoutrement do they have to give up to get back to the basics in 1099?
I think the tops of their hair.
Yeah, it's amazing that a person in 1099 would be like, whoa, the modern world
This is pretty cushy.
too much for me.
What are you guys doing?
Like, we got to go back.
Yeah, we need to do more Ludditing in our nunkery.
Remember triple
monkery.
digits? Those were good times.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's our Bernard. Famous for a few things. Here's the thing. I'm getting to a thing
Yeah.
that I love that's not even much of anything.
Right.
So I'll give you some fast facts about Bernard, and then we'll get to the reasons.
Bernard facts.
Fast facts about Bernard.
Yeah. And then we'll get to my
The
favorite thing.
bullet points of Bernard.
He
One,
did.
brandy.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first one. Second one is that he rose in prominence pretty quickly at some point. I mean, he founded this his own monkery, whatever he called
Monkey
it.
house.
Monkey house.
Yeah.
And there spent some time there, but eventually became quite a thing. He became super obsessed with Mary, with the Virgin Mary, and that'll come back later.
That's not weird.
When he was a kid, he had a dream where he dreamt the whole birth of Jesus story, and ever since that time, he became obsessed. And so, in Catholicism, Marian philosophy is a big deal, and he carried that banner more than anybody else. He wrote extensively about her. He was all about her as your intercessionary to God, praying to the Virgin Mary.
All monotheism.
Right, exactly. They do it right up there. And now people pray to him. So boom.
Wow.
This is so this is where a lot of that importance of Virgin Mary came from. He was not a person who necessarily. This was not a time when the Catholic Church believed entirely in virgin, or rather the Immaculate Conception yet. That was a concept that was floating around but had not been canonized. And for those who are confused about it, the conception of Jesus was not the Immaculate Conception. The Immaculate Conception was the conception of Mary. So Mary's mother somehow Mary was conceived and in her and was conceived without sin, without original sin, and that is the Immaculate Conception, so that she could bear Jesus in her sin-free.
Is that true?
body.
I've
That's-
never heard that.
Yeah, it's a very confusing. Those of us who weren't raised Catholic, and even so, I've met Catholics who don't know that.
So who banged Mary to produce Jesus?
God.
Oh,
Yeah, but who banged her mother?
nobody.
Her dad.
Oh,
But somehow magically, God zapped it before it got before she zapped that zygote.
So
before
hold on.
she got
Her
the-
mother is also a virgin. So her mother.
No, her mother's not a virgin,
I see.
but she was immaculately conceived. That doesn't mean virgin birth. That just means that she was conceived without sin. She somehow original sin, which is transported, I guess, through semen or something.
through the mother.
through the parents.
Yeah.
It didn't get to her. She was not a carrier. So
All right. Well, look, at the end of the day, all that matters is there is a massive worldwide religion that is completely obsessed with the pregnancy of a 12-year-old girl.
right, yeah, exactly. and then thereafter obsessed with how great she was, and you should pray to her, and then she'll whisper your prayers into
Yes.
God's ears.
And also they're obsessed with the naughty bits of 12-year-old boys. But that's another story.
That's
Well, the good thing
just
is
the priests. That's
even
not-
though that seems weird, nothing weird has come of it.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Okay. Let's get back to Bernard here. Bernard, so yes, obsessed with Mary. Totally talked about her a lot. He also can be one of the things. I don't know how much you guys remember about your medieval history,
Not much.
but long around the 1100s, they had this fun thing called the Crusades on.
Yeah.
Where they sent a bunch of folks, a bunch of knights to the Holy Land, and
It was a real estate transfer.
it was a delightful little pastime where Europeans would head to the Middle East and claim the Holy Land for their own because, Jesus, with the added benefit of the mass torture and murder of a whole bunch of brown folks
Who
along
just
the way.
happened to live there.
who rudely were saying, "Hey, this is where we live,"
Yeah.
and obviously that sort of affront cannot be brooked.
I mean, it was kind of it was very much like the Mormon missionary program, where one of an afternoon you're in your mud hut, ding dong, open the door, sword.
yeah, it was that sort of a
It
thing.
was like that.
And it turned out great.
Yeah.
And there was so after the First Crusade, a whole bunch of Europeans wanted to go to this newly acquired Holy Land.
They just wanted better weather. For fuck's sake.
Now it was white and delightsome.
Yeah.
So they felt comfortable to go and see all the fun Jesus-y sights.
Yeah.
But while Jerusalem itself was secure, the road thereto was not, and folks found themselves getting killed every so often.
They were beset by highwaymen.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And the brown kind too, which is the worst kind.
Right.
You don't. It's really ugly.
Your Saracens, your Blackamoors.
You're various and sundry.
Your Macklemore's.
Right. Well, that's the worst one. Not brown, but thinks he is. So,
Macklemore burn.
haha, gotcha. Nobody picks on Macklemore like we do. So a bunch of stout-hearted white folk eventually formed a small group of about 9, one of whom was St. Bernard's uncle, calling themselves, and you may remember this name, the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. From such humble origins.
They were poor.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, for a long time, their banner was a horse with 2 riders because they couldn't even afford. But they were established to sort of protect people as pilgrims as they came in and out.
Shouldn't your banners be aspirational?
Instead of
Maybe that was maybe they were like these 2 guys have a horse.
a guy with sores wearing a barrel.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? So they became the highway patrol.
They were the highway patrol, and Saint Bernard's uncle was one of the original.
All right.
And he liked them so much that he wrote a fun little pamphlet about them that gained enough traction that actually they became a cause celeb of Europe, and money poured in, and then they became like one of the most powerful groups of non-state related knights
Yeah.
ever.
Wow.
So Bernard was sort of instrumental in getting the Templar Knights famous and getting them going. Other fun facts about Saint Bernard. He managed to tamp down a schism that had formed after one pope died, and there was a whole schiz about like who was going to be the next pope. He managed to. He was influential in the election of at least two popes.
How about that?
There's a thing I tried to find more about both of these incidents, but couldn't really find it. But under temptation. Excuse
A
me.
little burpee there, Bernard.
Yeah, well, it's that brandy.
Burpees in a top hat.
Yeah. He was tempted a number of times. He didn't like the temptations of the flesh. He is supposed to turn them down. He was a priest, for God's sake. So I found just a couple of things mentioned. One day, to cool down his lustful temptation, he threw himself into ice cold water, which I hear doesn't work, but who knows? I mean, it'll at least distract you.
Yeah.
Another time, apparently he was at an inn, and a prostitute who was naked was somehow introduced beside him.
Yeah.
And he
Somehow.
managed.
Oh, what? How'd this happen?
He managed to retain his chastity by literally fleeing. He ran away. So
This guy's a fucking hero.
He has the same.
No, please tell me these aren't his miracles.
No. He has the same the same reaction to a naked lady as Uncle Mark does.
I just want her to be comfortable. Right. That's why I jump out the window.
By you defenestrating yourself.
Auto defenestration. Which is not the strangly thing. People think that's what that is.
No. That's an entire. You have to tie a thing around another thing.
You can only get off by jerking off as you jump out a window.
I love that.
There's a support group.
You can only get off in a fleeing Uber.
Yeah. There's a support group. We meet at the emergency room.
Right. All of this is fun and interesting, but I have to get to now. I mentioned his obsession with Mary, and I have to get to the thing that first got me reading about this guy, which is a series of paintings and depictions in stained glass and elsewhere of what is known as Lactatio Bernardi.
Oh, God.
Also called the lactation of Saint Bernard. Now,
can we stop? Can we just stop?
Nope.
Can we just? We're good. Thanks. Moving on.
Well, don't worry, Uncle Mark.
Okay.
You've got the wrong idea.
Yeah.
He himself didn't lactate.
Okay.
What you will find if you look up the lactation of Saint Bernard is numerous beautifully illustrated pictures of Mary having moved the Christ child aside from her breast for a moment so that she may squirt milk from herself onto the beloved Saint Bernard.
You know what? I've seen these images.
I seem to remember that. Yeah,
it's a delightful thing. She's a straight shot. She's got a really good aim with that tit of hers.
Is it going into a chalice or is it just going on his face?
On his face, like Mary, it's Madonna Bukkake.
It's Bukkake.
It's Bukkake.
Yeah.
It is the most amazing thing. Either sometimes he's depicted asleep and she's just dripping, just a lovely little thing onto his lips.
But
other times she's like 3 feet away and just nailing that target.
What does it symbolize? Like just that they're connected?
So there's this idea that he was praying before the image of Madonna and asking her to show that she is a mother. I don't know why.
He was praying in front of the image of
right,
Madonna.
exactly. And then somehow
and
magically
there was a milky substance
appeared on his face. And ta-da!
And
a legend is born.
The Archbishop is
exactly
like,
what the hell?
Milk. It's milk.
Yeah.
From Mary.
I don't believe you. Well, it is $10.99. You're right.
You're right.
It was milk.
Right.
True.
And the Archbishop pulls out his cell phone and says, "Get me a stained glass guy here now."
Right.
Stat.
So there you go. There is. That's just a thing. I wanted to get to it somehow, so I had to talk about St. Bernard. There you go.
Well,
that's all I got.
You went and did it. And what was his martyrdom? Did he die in a dairy accident of some kind? He was lactose intolerant. He got so phlegmy, he died.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that. I don't even care about the actual thing. That's what he died of.
Well, blessed be his name, I guess.
Yeah.
Mother's milk. This guy, and we can thank him for the Templars and for
all that stuff that's super relevant today.
yeah, all the stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we had that little chat.
He's a
Let's move on.
patron saint of cows.
Let's move on.
Okay. Well, gents, this show
Yeah.
is three guys putting in some time,
Yeah.
putting in some effort to try and bring enlightenment to the masses.
Do you think I enjoy spending 5-6 hours reading about the fucking Hollow Earth?
I think
Do you think?
I think you kind of love that. However,
Okay, yes, but I do it because I love y'all.
yeah,
I do it because I love the people.
it's for the people.
It's for the fucking people. So show us some of that love back.
Yeah, you could appreciate us. You can. I mean, first of all, we do it because we love you and we want to help.
We want the best for you.
We've become accustomed to a certain lifestyle.
This hurts me more than it hurts you.
That ivory-handled back scratcher is not going to buy itself.
Right, and we are, and this is actually literally true, in the market currently for a weasel. So
We are looking
everyone-
for a weasel. And have you recently priced out?
I don't know if you've priced out a weasel, but it's not cheap. So, ladies and gentlemen, some of you, sanctified people that you are, have chosen to participate in the creation of this thing and help us pay some bills. And we have some folks to thank.
Yes, let us do it.
Some patrons who are new to our show and have chosen to help us out. This week's rarefied air is breathed by BT
Yes, BT.
and Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
And they are our newest patrons. What they've done is they've gone to our website, howtoheretic.com, easy enough to remember, and found the patron button. They click on that. It takes them to Patreon. They sign up. They chose their own level of patronage
Yep.
per episode donation.
Yep.
They get fabulous cash and prizes. No, wait.
Well, what?
They don't at all.
We don't
But-
have either of those things.
But they have the thrill of knowing that they helped out a little bit.
Right.
So anybody can do that.
Right. And if you are a little skint at the moment, if you've had to forfeit $46 million of your assets to the federal government, we get it. You can still show us some love. Go to your iTunes. Go to wherever there's a 5-star option. If there's a 10-star option, do that. If it's 5, hit it twice. Make it rain for your uncles because, by God, we love you.
Yep. That's great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Let's move on.
Uncle Dan,
Uh-huh.
Uncle Doug has joined us today. We have formed a quorum.
We have formed a quorum.
We can pass a motion finally.
It is now
We can read the minutes from last week's meeting,
a fellowship of the whatever.
and we can put the money in the U-Bahn can. So, for our snacks. So, Uncle Doug is going to introduce us, I think,
Yeah.
to a whole new, exciting group of people.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're in for.
We
don't,
literally have no idea what's coming next. So, I'm hoping we're going to like our new friends.
Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe today, back in episode 46, we talked about the Religious Liberty Task Force.
Yes.
And in that discussion, there was a reference to the Native American Church. So I thought it would be fun to go revisit that and kind of dive a little deeper into the Native American Church and talk about what that is and meet them and get to know them.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
They've been here this whole time.
They have been, pretty much.
The call's coming from inside the house.
inside the continent.
Yeah.
The Native American Church, or NAC, a.k.a. Peyotism, or the Peyote religion, is a Native American religion practiced throughout North America, so all the way up to northern Canada, all the way down into southern Mexico. And it's known for its sacramental use of the entheogen peyote, which is a hallucinogenic cactus, which we'll talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
The religion itself is
Just go out there and start chewing on cactuses until one gets you.
Let's cut to the chase. Just eat the first cactus you see. When you are brought out of the medically induced coma, shoot us an email.
Yeah,
Well, and
tell us how it went.
Yeah, exactly. The religion is kind of an amalgam of Native American beliefs mixed in with various tenets of Christianity, and it varies pretty wildly depending on what region of the country you are.
Sure.
Basically, it was kind of a protectionist way of maintaining some Native American beliefs by just kind of putting a patina of Christianity over it.
Right.
So certain sects of the Native American Christian church reject the Bible entirely. Some of them accept it. Some of them are all about Jesus. Some of them are not. But all of them kind of practice their pre-Columbian beliefs, such as they still exist, with kind of the imprimatur of Christianity baked in.
It's kind of funny because when I imagine this, all I can picture, like just from like the name and knowing that their big sacrament, in scare quotes, is peyote. All I imagine is a bunch of dipshit hippie white kids, forming a religion, hoping that they'll get to keep to smoke peyote legally.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you were to kind of hold a gun to a typical, liberal arts major and demand that he invent a Native American religion, this is probably what he would come up with. You know what I mean? It's kind of what you think it is. This is
white suburban Rastafarians trying not to get arrested for for possession.
Right. I mean, it is unbelievably, it is the biggest Native American religion practiced currently
by actual Native Americans.
Okay. And it's doesn't have like a clergy or a hierarchy or a pope or a Vatican City. It is whatever you want it to be. So
which is why it's the only religion in the world that is the opposite of Mormonism. Instead of sending out like more missionaries, people just flock to them.
Right.
Dipshit. Young white folks.
It's got 250,000 or so adherents at last count, and last count was over 20 years ago for some reason. But yeah, it's practiced all over the country. It was originally developed in Oklahoma, and in the late 19th century. So it's got some history to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And as everything is that's developed in Oklahoma, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And the history of Native Americans in Oklahoma in the 19th century can best be described as a sunny Sunday afternoon.
Right, exactly.
Nothing bad ever happened
Exactly.
to a Native American in OK.
It's primarily a monotheistic religion, and the deity is called the Great Spirit.
Okay,
sure.
And basically, one of the things they believe, obviously, is that God, the Great Spirit, gave us the fruits of the earth, particularly peyote, to be able to communicate and commune with God. And that's the point of it. For those of you out there who don't know what peyote is, it is a spineless cactus, gutless, cowardly cactus.
What are you, yellow?
It's a yellow cactus.
And I think the fact that it is spineless is probably one of the reasons that someone decided to take a bite. It's got various psychoactive alkaloids.
Well, wait a minute. It isn't, but I might be mistaken. It's not the cactus itself, right? Isn't it a fungus that grows that sometimes infests that cactus?
Not according to what I read, but I didn't spend more than a few months on this
saying
research.
how I might know that.
Cool it down there, Cheech.
Not saying how I might know that, but
it might be.
It's a friend told me.
How many cactuses have you licked hoping this would work? If there's fungus, eat it.
Well, licking is one thing, but have you heard of booty bumping?
Really important you get a spineless cactus before you try booty bumping it.
A friend of mine,
or you really got to work on your breathing.
A friend named Mark. Damn it. I'm not good at these.
The active ingredient is obviously mescaline, and the name peyote is it's Spanish word derived from the Aztec meaning glisten or glistening.
Really?
Yeah. Which is not related to Jerry Blank's
drugs
Glint.
in episode 7 of Strangers with Candy, I believe. Glint. Any gay guys over
Somebody
40 out there
just cackled.
just screamed. Yeah.
The ceremonies are they have their weekly religious ceremonies, if they practice them that often, are Saturday night to Sunday morning. It's an all night affair.
Sure.
They take place in a teepee. They have a priest or an elder,
A shaman.
a shaman, depending on what area of the country you're in. But they all kind of have the same basic structure to the ceremony. You eat peyote, you get crazy, you beat drums, you chant, you read scriptures, you stay up all night dancing.
You say a bunch of Jesus-y things and then you get fucked up.
That's right. Yeah. The priest is called the roadman, which is kind of cool. And he's assisted by a fireman whose job it is, obviously, to keep the fire going no matter how fucked up he gets.
All I can picture now is, who are the people in your neighborhood?
Actually, I love that. I love the name Roadman. I think that's
it's
really
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Means something different in London? That's fine. Keep going.
Exactly. So obviously, by the time the ceremony ends in the morning, peyote is a stimulant, so everybody's pretty wired.
Yeah.
So they come out of the tent or the teepee and they have a big breakfast together, and then they brunch. Exactly.
Yes.
They have brunch together, and then kind of in the mid-afternoon time, everyone gets pretty tired and it just kind of winds down.
Can you make peyote into a mimosa? Is that a thing?
I guarantee some white woman in the Southwest knows the answer to that question.
Go see Nancy and Taos. Chill.
So
She prefers to be called River.
There's a breakfast place called the Cougar. Just roll up in there with some turquoise and a chambray skirt.
She'll trade you for a crystal.
she'll sell it for a handful of beads. Yeah. So the anti-drug hysteria that swept the nation in the 60s and 70s became obviously a problem for this religion.
Yeah.
And in 1978, Congress passed the Indian Religion Freedom Act, which was actually meant to protect Native Americans from prosecution for possession and sale of peyote.
In an insanely rare moment,
Right.
the Congress accidentally passed a law to protect Indians.
Well, and it
Clearly was a mistake.
It was a mistake, and unsurprisingly, and in unprecedented fashion, the U.S. government didn't live up to that commitment. But
Strange.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Also
what,
in a first.
That's what they were doing.
Right.
Hey, when was the last time we said we were going to do something nice for them and then fucked them over?
Yeah.
Last week.
That's a fun thing. Let's do one of those.
So for a period of time there, for a couple decades, only card-carrying members of this religion, of the Native American Church, could possess peyote. I tried very hard to find out how one could get one of these cards. And as soon as I know, you'll know. But yeah, so
The
then,
application process is long and difficult.
exactly. So in the 80s, mid 80s to late 80s, of course, Native Americans were starting to get arrested for possession because America.
Yeah.
And then, as we discussed in episode 46. The democratically controlled Congress then passed the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act, or RFRA.
Right.
Right. Ostensibly
Yeah.
to protect this minority religion.
Yes. And it was it was Schumer and Kennedy passed it in the House and Senate. Clinton signed it really quickly into law, and it was kind of an attempt to triangulate the religious issue away from Republicans in that era.
Worked like a charm.
Yeah, worked like a charm.
Such a beautiful piece of
We've
maneuvering.
We've never had to think about it again.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
No, and of course, as blowback seems to
Religion
be,
in America is solved. Hooray!
Yeah.
blowback and unintended consequences seem to be the only through thread in American history.
Right.
This RFRA has become a bludgeon in the hands of Beauregard Sessions III and the Religious Freedom Task Force.
Yeah.
It was also instrumental in the 2014 Hobby Lobby case, the Masterpiece Cake Shop case in 2018.
Yeah.
Will undoubtedly be cited in the future. So,
Who would have thought that the Democrats could have crafted the bludgeon with which they would be beaten for the next 20 years?
exactly. And
We got to really put this thing, stress test this motherfucker and see,
Right.
see if we can get some Christian asshole baker. Again, what the fuck is with bakers? But get some Christian asshole baker. You have to make a peyote cake.
not only made of peyote, but looks like peyote.
Yeah.
Which is not
A
attractive.
glistening cactus cake for my Native American two-spirit wedding, bitch. We could blow this whole thing up.
It's just, yeah, exactly. I think that actually, it's like an Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail, and eventually it explodes into a star.
It's a snake eating a cake. I want a cactus snake cake. Christian.
We're going to have one of those at the meetup.
Totally.
We're gonna,
A peyote cake?
yeah,
All right.
that's there.
Well, okie dokie.
Doug is providing.
Jokes. What fun we have.
So, yeah, I mean, that's...
You are going to get fucked up if you come to the meetup.
Oh, yeah, but not on peyote. We're all out. And that's essentially it. That's the state of the religion. It still goes strong today in Native American communities. And it is coast to coast. It's all up and down the North American continent.
So this isn't. We were telling jokes about Barbara or Sandra, or whoever she is in Taos. This is not what I had thought maybe it was, which is a bunch of white people trying to figure out a workaround to get peyote and get in touch with the spirit. This is actually
this is their
Native Americans using the imprimatur of the Christian Bible and all of the inroads into actual freedom that are reserved for Christianity. They were trying to use this to actually practice their shit.
correct.
In a way meaningful to them.
Thereby making it a lot harder for me to make fun of, and now I'm resentful.
We're leaving it in.
I have to be nice about this.
Pre Columbus, all of these were various nations and tribes throughout the country or their country, and this is the first time that they've actually had kind of a cross continent religion. Because they were entirely diverse and there was no communication.
It seems sort of anathema to the story of the Native Americans, which is not like a monolith. Like Native Americans are as diverse as any continental group of groups of people.
And this is the closest thing they've ever had to kind of a continent-wide identity.
Right. So this is similar. We've talked in a previous episode about Pan-Africanism, right? Which is
precisely
this ability to kind of rebuild an identity out of a shattered, post-colonial shitscape, and kind of create a space for you to, re-examine what you hope what you think your roots were. This is the same thing,
right?
It's there were
white colonialists. We're uniters, not dividers.
And then fairly recently, the Neo-American Church, which is exactly what you guys were thinking of in the beginning, is precisely a bunch of white people trying to legalize drugs so they can bang drums in tents.
Right. It's baby boomers.
They tried to use the same legal structure to get LSD and marijuana legalized for their sacraments and failed miserably. But that's a story for a different day.
The Church of the Holy Drum Circle.
That's
the Church of the Holy Divorcee.
the Church of Stinky Hair and Didgeridoo.
Yeah.
and rain sticks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm for it. Not that one. I'm for the other one. Yeah.
So there they are. Meet the.
Little
Native
did I know
American
that night in Burning Man, I was actually practicing a religion.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
You've been baptized at Burning Man. Well, thanks for sharing that, Doug. And when's this going to kick in? Because
It takes a minute.
I drank this shit 40 minutes ago, and I'm feeling a little sick.
You got to booty bump it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and send us an email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you have one of those cards that allows you to get peyote, a friend of mine's interested, you can leave us a voicemail about that at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. We're also on Twitter at HowToHeretic, and of course, our beautiful home on Facebook.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much again once more to the patrons of this show. You are the wind beneath our wings.
You are the feet beneath our knees, and we would love to also thank the other feet beneath our knees, Cody Layton, for editing the show.
And thank all of you, dear friends, for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.